Welcome to another episode of
Can You Reach That?
Can You Reach That? How you been, man?
Can't complain. Life is good.
I saw we got a little bit of traction on the R&B conversation last week. Some of the comments, so we'll get into that shortly here. But I wanted to ask you, in just kind of diving into the R&B scene and all that, I started looking at different crowds that people bring to their shows. And of course, you can never forget that one DMX show that had I think it was 3/4 of the planet just jumping around.
Right.
And so it got me thinking, at what number of people does it have to be where it turns from a group of people to a crowd? It's, you know what I mean? Like group versus crowd. What is the threshold?
That is an interesting question. Because the number that I have in my head is probably not accurate. But
is there an actual number where it's like, okay, fuck that, that's a crowd?
I feel like there's a number. I don't know what it is, but it starts off small for me because if two's company and three's a crowd, is four a group?
It's for a group. So a group is bigger than a crowd?
A group is definitely bigger than a crowd.
So DMX's 1,500 million people in his crowd is just a group? That's a group of 1,500 million?
That's a hell of a group, yeah.
But if it was only two people, there'd be a crowd?
No, if it was three people, yeah. Two's company.
Interesting. Yeah, because I thought about it in the perspective of you see artists that perform in like a smaller club or a smaller venue.
Yeah.
Let's say there's, between like 80 to 120, maybe 150 capacity, right?
Yeah.
Is that a crowd or is that a group?
That's a crowd to me. But I think it all depends on the venue also, because if the venue holds 150 and you've got 7, I mean, it's a small.
Is it a small crowd or is that just a group of people watching the show? You feel me?
Yeah.
Like when some of these artists are out there, man, that show was fire, man. The crowd was going nuts, and then you see the footage, and there's like 12 people there. Like,
it's funny that we both said 12.
Right.
But yeah.
Was it that the crowd was going crazy, or was it the group of people there going crazy?
Right. Big crowd, small group.
So
yeah, I don't know.
I just want to know what that threshold is.
One.
I was curious if you had an opinion on the threshold. I don't know.
I haven't. I've never heard anybody like put a specific number on it.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say, "Oh man, I performed a show in front of a group of people." I always hear, people
crowd.
say a crowd.
Yeah.
But
small crowd
again, subjective. And is a small crowd a group, or is a small crowd still larger than a group?
Right.
Is there group, then small crowd, then crowd, and then huge? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Where does that? Where does
is a large crowd a small group?
Where does the vernacular change from
crowd to group?
Crowd to group, from group to crowd, or crowd to group, or what have you?
That's an interesting one. I mean, you could tell me better than anybody, Mr. Performer, Mr.
But I'm not going to put myself on the I had half the planet DMX level. I mean, we did some sizable events from time to time.
Yeah.
But
so did you have crowds or groups?
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I always referred to it as crowds, but I mean, there was smaller venues where there's 100, maybe 200 people.
Yeah.
I still feel like that's a crowd.
Yeah, that feels like
now is a crowd. Is it based on definition? Like if you have 100 people somewhere, right? And they're all in their little factions and they're all in the same place for the same reason. Mm-hmm. Is that a group of people?
Maybe it's
where you have the same amount of people. Let's say it's the same 200 people.
Yeah.
But they're all there focused on like one common interest. Is that considered a crowd now because it's just a crowd of people there for the same common interest?
Right.
Or is it a
maybe it's a crowd of groups?
Right. You start kind of going back and forth,
breaking it down. Yeah.
Like if you have a restaurant and it's a grand opening and there's 100 people show up. Oh man, it's a great group of people came out and they had some food, or is that a crowd of people that came out?
Yeah.
Versus like if you're going to a performance or a TED Talk even, right? And there's the same we'll use the same number of 100 people come out. Now is that the crowd because all 100 people are there now focused on the speaker?
Right.
Versus going to a venue and they're all doing their own thing, but they're just there.
I don't know. That's an interesting distinction between the two. And you might be onto something because, it's the collective as a whole doing the same thing versus a bunch of different subsets in the same environment.
Right.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, even the restaurant dynamic, right? They're all there for the same common interest, which is the grand opening of a restaurant.
Right.
But they're not focused on one
The
particular
single,
thing.
the same thing.
They're all
yeah.
there collectively.
Right.
So those are just, is that just a group that came out to support the restaurant versus a crowd of people who came out to watch a person, for whatever reason.
Right.
So
No, maybe that's a tough one.
that's just something I kind of went down to, when I was watching the various performances and things like that, based on some suggestions and the comments. So
What do you guys think? Is there a specific number that determines what a crowd is or what a group is?
or what is it in general? What defines a group versus a crowd?
Let us know.
Can you reach that? You see that? Let's talk about it. Read that. Believe that. Let the people know that we see that and what they want to know. Can you reach that? Can you reach that?
And now your host, Tango and Coop.
Can you reach that?
Can you reach that?
But yeah, man. I mean, and then getting back to that R&B conversation we had about and again, like we said, it's not that there's no R&B out there. It's not that there's no soul in R&B anymore. It's there. It's just not.
It's not in the mainstream. It's not being pushed by
But I did see that a couple comments, whatnot, on some of the socials, making some suggestions and stuff. Some of them people that we know that are just still around.
Yeah.
But there was some interesting
a lot of old heads. But there's some new artists that are coming up that are, trying to bring back that soulful vibe.
Indeed. So I thought it'd be good to bring that shine on them here, because
we had a comment from Adrian Joseph who recommended we check out October London. He has a album that he put out called Rebirth of Marvin. And I was like, let me check it out. Let me see what he's talking about. And bro, like, when they say Rebirth of Marvin, like, they're not kidding. Like, you definitely get that Marvin Gaye vibe. You definitely get that 70s soul, that 70s R&B.
He has a great sound. There's a tone to his voice.
Yeah.
That definitely reminds you of that. Of that era, but modernized.
Yeah,
modernized.
His cadence and everything, the way he carries it,
and he flips it too, because he's got some other songs where it doesn't have the Marvin vibe, but it just has talent.
Two of the ones that really stuck out to me was "Touch on Me" and "All I Want Is You."
Got you.
Like, I mean, listening to it, like, there were no skips. Like, I didn't skip anything. It wasn't like hearing it and it's like, let me see what the next one is. Like, literally no skips all the way through, which was impressive because it's been a long time. Especially from a new artist that I've listened to something and didn't feel like skipping over it,
Got you.
Because there is a point in me that wants to listen just to listen. Like, let me just go ahead and listen unbiased and try to get it. But like, even as I was listening to it, it was like, it had me from the first note of every song. It was like, oh, okay.
No, he's talented. He's definitely talented.
Super impressive. So, appreciate the recommendation. Adrian Joseph, we got that. He hit that up on TikTok. Thanks for recommending that, because I didn't even know what I was missing.
Yeah, the crazy thing about that is so there's another artist, Jane Hancock.
Yeah.
She is, I guess if I had to compare her, which I don't like doing very often, but she has a little Jill Scott, she has a little Mary J. She's got a little bit of that, hip hop kind of cadence on some of her songs.
Yeah.
But soulful, like, has a really good range and a very catchy sound. Like, her tone, like, I don't know, it's something about it. Like, you listen to her and she can sing, man. Like, and she's got some great songs.
Right.
She also has an album, I'd say no skips. I mean, I listened to it all the way through. It goes from up tempo, catchy beats to some slow jams and whatnot.
Love ballads, yeah.
Yeah. So and the irony behind talking about her and then you bringing up October London. I had heard both of them before without realizing it. After we went down this rabbit hole, Snoop had a song a few years back called Algorithm that he showcased various people, and they were on that song.
His mixtape that he had put out.
And a couple of the songs that they're both on, I have on my playlist because they were fire.
So you heard them, just didn't recognize who they.
The naming, it wasn't as profound. Because it's, like I said again, the R&B just ain't pushed the way it should be anymore.
Man, I love when that happens. When I stumble back and it's like, wait a minute, I know this person from. Oh my goodness, I've known this guy for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the fact that now, we saw the comment and it suggested October London. I stumbled on Jane Hancock when I, going down the rabbit hole and whatnot, and then realizing that they were on that compilation CD,
Yeah.
and then also further reading that both of them were signed to Death Row. They're Death Row artists.
Right. So
Snoop
shout out to Snoop for bringing back the real R&B.
So I'm sitting there like, so the new Death Row is the place to be for R&B.
Right.
So now I'm like, I need to pay more attention to what's going on over at Death Row. Like, we've talked about some of the films and stuff that they've got in the works or released.
Yeah.
But we got to pay attention to that music over there. And I think a spotlight needs to be shined over there a little bit more because, again, I want to see that more mainstream. I want to see people. I want to hear some of these songs, in films, and I want to see them in commercials and whatnot. I mean, there's talent there.
Right. Definitely.
So,
and it'll be nice to hear. I mean, maybe we'll hear something in the next Friday.
If anybody's interested in checking out Jane Hancock, two songs top of my head that I know for a fact are now on my playlist. Go check out Sorry. Sorry was. Yeah, her sound, like, when she sings, I'm serious, like, it's a trip. Like, she's got a really catchy sound.
Yeah.
And Use Me is dope. Use Me, I actually stumbled across the video. They're sitting in like a little restaurant, kind of going, you see her singing and she's just doing her thing, and like the visuals are dope. Got the waitress coming in, serving them, taking their order.
Right.
But it's a cool visual. In fact, when I stumbled on that, I realized that her whole album is a visual. It's a visual album. She has like some sort of visual content for every track.
Every song on the album, yeah.
But yeah, fire. I mean, the talent. So shout out to Snoop for recruiting, man, because
keeping it alive, like bringing it back. And I mean, I feel like I think we're in an era now where there's a shift where music is becoming. I don't even know the right word. I don't want to say better, but it's definitely like tapping back into that older vibe of how we used to feel about music in the 80s and the 90s.
I feel like the vets are stepping up to a certain degree. Snoop, in the sense, obviously, he's had 2 albums released, right? He did the one with the Missionary, and then he's got
right.
So, but also pushing the
next
the artists
generation.
he has and all that stuff. But then you have all these artists, the veterans, right? The legends, the LLs, the Redmans, and all these people dropping music. I mean, the amount of albums that I'm not gonna say I'm catching up. I've already gone through them, but I'm catching up in the sense that I'm continually going through them to just vibe, to make sure I vibe out with it. But like, Joyner's probably the youngest in the group that I'm about to mention. But Joyner's album, ADH2, is really dope.
ADHD2?
Yeah, ADHD2 is dope. White Noise, one of them, like those singles, like the fire. But he's got some other stuff that I'm brain farting on the titles right now because it's still new to me. But he's got a song with T-Pain on there that's really dope. And then obviously Clips released their album.
Right.
Dope. Raekwon just released the album. I feel like he has. Go check out his video for Bear Hill. It's pretty dope. Ghostface album comes out at the beginning of August. I mean, we have all these like albums coming out. Exhibit's album, Ice Cube album, and it's driving.
Too Short's album.
Too Short albums.
Right.
It's driving this narrative, like you said, where it's like the talent still lives. It's out there. And maybe some of the younger artists need some more inspiration.
Right.
Because, the younger artists initially, when some of these vets were, I'm not saying falling out the game, because I don't think that ever really happened.
No, just late stage in their career.
Late stages when that transition was happening, there were some of them that you could tell were influenced by these guys.
Right.
And then there was a little bit of radio silence from some of the legends, right? It got a little quieter. And then the mainstream was more of the younger artists. They turned into the auto-tune, the mumble, all this. And I think it got to the point where it got kind of repetitious and too used. Style was too the same
too
all
saturated.
The time.
Yeah, and it happens. I think it happens with every genre of music. It just, everybody ends up, for the most part, sounding the same, looking the same.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's like, because in our era, Redman didn't sound like Busta didn't sound like Pac didn't sound like Big, Raekwon didn't sound like RZA didn't sound like, Ice Cube. Like, everybody had a sound, everybody had a style. Yeah. And even though they had a sound and a style, most of them, even from track to track, were different.
Right.
Whereas now, not only do you have artists that have entire albums where it blends.
Yeah.
And
it's
rough to tell, but
I love the baby, but
right.
Every song sounds the same to me.
But then you have not only artists that sound the same on their own stuff, but then you have multiple artists that you can't hardly distinguish between the two because they're trying to
'Cause they
sound
all
like each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think this new wave of the legends kind of dropping music and they're charting.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're dropping it, it's getting buried. It's getting attention.
There's still an
So-
audience out there because we're still here.
Right.
Like these are the same people that we grew up listening to. So of course we're gonna go out and listen
For
to the
sure.
new stuff that they put out.
And that could drive inspiration for younger artists to go,
Yeah.
oh, so this is charting right now. Let me,
Tap in or
so
gain some inspiration from it. But it's crazy too because I've started this little adventure. I stumbled across, I can't remember his name right now, but a young YouTuber who is introducing himself to like old hip hop.
mhm,
So he was listening to Nas's Illmatic for the first time,
mhm.
and seeing his reaction to Illmatic like gave me hope. It's like, oh, like they're starting to fall in love with the same music that we fell in love with
Yeah.
around the same age, So
Right.
it's like knowing that there's young kids out there from this newer generation that like our music and are interested in hearing it and like finding about because he was after he listened to it, he was like, I'm sorry, that I'm just now finding out about Nas. I feel like I've been doing a disservice. Like
Right.
he's like, man, I feel like I should have known about this years ago. And I was like, man, that's crazy to hear. So I just went down this little rabbit hole of like listening to him listen to old music for the first time,
Right.
and just his genuine excitement about hearing it and the lyrical content and him stopping and going back, and it's like, oh my God, like that's a bar. It was just like,
Yeah.
there's still hope, and I feel like we're at a point now to where the newer artists that are coming out crave that
Right.
and they want that, And it's different too, like there used to be a whole hierarchy to break into the industry. Like you had to go through certain channels. You had to, get PR trained and do all of that stuff. Now there's none of it's still there, but you can
Yeah. Social media.
get famous without doing any of that. If you go viral on TikTok with your music,
Yeah.
you don't even have to be a real artist to, you put out one song. Like the one hit wonders these days are completely different from one hit wonders.
I don't know the dude's name, but that thing that was all over TikTok. I'm the big stepper underground.
Yeah.
That was like every TikTok video used that.
Yeah.
Always. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then like,
But it's different because now you don't even have to put out a whole album as an artist. Like as an artist back in the day, you were putting out at least the album. It wasn't just one song.
right.
Now you can literally just put out one song, go viral, make a mill.
What a crazy part to it is, you remember back in that era when when we were listening to all these artists, it got to a point, I want to say maybe the mid 2000s, sometime between like 2005 and 2010 maybe,
Yeah.
where there was the term ringtone rapper,
Oh yeah.
where it was like,
Shout out to T-Pain because
yes and no, but like it got to a point where they would call people ringtone rappers because it was like it was the equivalent of a one hit wonder,
yeah.
but it was that they had their hook was a catchy ringtone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you just a ringtone rapper.
Well, I wasn't
use it
saying
for your
T-Pain was a
ringtone.
ringtone rapper. I'm just saying T-Pain had a lot of raps that were ringtone friendly.
100%.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a ringtone rapper. He had a catalog.
Right.
But there was people
Yeah,
that came out
T-Pain-
that had
T-Pain
one
is
song and it was good for
genius.
your ringtone, and that was it.
Yeah.
But I think the equivalent to that now is the TikTok rapper. It's TikTok rappers. And I think, and it's not a slight, like you said, get your bag, however you get it. But, you get those ones where you hear it, it's everywhere all over social media.
Yeah.
But that's
But
it.
that's it. Yeah.
So
And I feel like if I ever drop some shit, that's what I would be. Like it would look, because I'm not an artist in any way, shape, or form.
Coop
but
on the mic.
I do imagine myself putting out like one song.
We might have to make that happen.
Hey, one of these days. Just one of them days.
That's not yours. Can't
No,
sample
it's
it. We
not.
can't clear that sample.
No.
We have to edit this out.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna use that as my sample.
We have to edit this out so it don't, we don't want the podcast to get a flag on it.
Right. Yeah.
But no, shout out to Snoop, man, for growing the label and finding that talent. I want to see a bigger push. Not to say his hands aren't in it, but it's maybe social media needs to. I might post something just because like it needs to be pushed because they got.
We got to start. Yeah. I mean, really, what it comes down to is there's one thing I think I catch myself a lot waiting for the mainstream to to break somebody or tell me what's hot and everything like that.
Right.
But there's enough.
Because there's times where I find songs where I'm like, this is so dope, and I'm listening to it. It's not really mainstream. People aren't really listening to it.
But it's like, why don't more people know about this?
And like I'll show the song to people, and they're like, oh, this is quite never heard. You know what I mean? And then maybe a little while later, all of a sudden now it's a little bit more popular. I'm like, wait, I've been listening to this. You know what I mean? Like, and then I feel like, should I have posted about, like, you know what I mean? Like, should I have brought this
like
more?
I've been on this. I could have helped push this.
Yeah,
to the
like y'all are
forefront.
late.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, maybe that's what we need to do. You know, like get back to that underground mindset because that's how it used to be before you went mainstream.
I'm thinking, can you reach that playlist on Spotify?
That'll be dope.
I think we need to compile something not only with some of our old favorites, but let's put some of these.
Some new and upcoming. Yeah.
Let's put some October London in there. You know what I'm saying? Let's put some Jane Hancock in there, and let's like
expose people to some stuff that we're finding.
We share that. We'll post that playlist on the socials, and let people vibe on it and see what transpires.
Yeah,
it might be an interesting social.
That'll be dope.
Social experiment.
We can have a bunch of different ones, like dope female MCs on the playlist.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start off with just a generic. Can you reach that playlist, and just start putting things that I like,
all the bangers,
all the genres. It don't matter, just whatever I like. This whether it's something that's old, something that's new, something that's unheard. Just throw it in there and just let people vibe on it. Hit the shuffle button.
That's dope. I like that. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Real good idea.
That's gonna be started right when these mics turn off.
Definitely gonna have some Snoop on there.
Indeed.
Gotta have Snoop on there. Snoop gotta be on the list.
Indeed.
You seen his new Cane's commercial?
So
the bro's all flamed
up.
All
right. Yeah. That's what I was about to say. So first, let's get the elephant out the room. There's not so much of an elephant anymore. You know me and Cane's.
Yeah, you're not gonna let us forget.
We're not gonna say that there's beef or chicken.
There's no beef.
There's just no flavor. But aside from me not really partaking, just because, like I said, I'm just not a fan of the lack thereof flavor.
Yeah.
I don't want to rely on a sauce for my flavor like that. Season the chicken. But when I saw that commercial, what's the word for it? It's not disappointed. It's not that at all. Like, Snoop is everywhere. Snoop is an icon. Snoop's voice is
iconic.
There's no other sound like Snoop voice.
Yeah.
But when he rode in a red car wearing all red, I'm just sitting there like, what did I multi-dimensional shift? What universe am I in? Like, this doesn't.
I think
it does not compute.
I think that's what made the commercial pop.
Right, and then at the same time, I'm like, wow, the marketing genius of Snoop of all people, rolling all red.
Because when's the last time, if ever, have you seen Snoop in red? I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Not saying he's never done it.
Right.
I just can't think of anything.
But that profound in the spotlight, in the center of all, everything, the advertisement. So it made me feel some type of way to a certain degree. I don't have a side, I'm not red or blue, but I know Snoop. Everybody in the planet knows Snoop. I think people out of this planet probably know Snoop at this point.
Right.
That it felt weird. I'm not gonna lie.
It was different. It was different seeing him in red, especially since he's been sophisticated crippin' since he was he was young, since he was a young buck,
Sophisticated.
So seeing him pop out.
That's a good plug.
Yeah.
Right.
Great video, by the way.
For sure.
Seeing him pop out in that all red was it took my breath away for a second. I'm like, the Snoop's in red?
Right.
But again, it shows
wipe off the glasses and rub the eyes.
It shows the growth and the maturity.
Right.
Bro's finally to a point in his life to where he's like, you know what, I can.
But that said, he said in the past that he got love for people. He ain't tripping.
I don't think he's ever really tripped like that. He did his banging and everything like that, but I think he's been in the public eye for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, Snoop has always been a peacekeeper. Like, he talks a lot of shit. He's that type of dude.
He'll stand on business when he's stand on business, but at the same time,
I always feel like his first go-to is to, like, let's squash some shit. If anything, let's work together. Yeah. Let's make money together. Like, we ain't gotta be enemies. We ain't gotta be ops. Like, let's make money together.
Indeed.
And I've always appreciated that about him. And like, shout out to Cane's too, because the people that, like, we mentioned Snoop before. Like, they've done campaigns with Ice-T. They've done campaigns with Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
They've done campaigns with Jelly Roll.
Mhm.
So I imagine that there is a personal interest, at least in hip hop, the fact that they're going out and dealing with these people,
Right.
and you know, having these there's a word that I'm looking for, connections, collaborations, having these collaborations with these artists. You know, like, you know, I give Kane's props to that. Chicken could use a little more flavor, but props to the work that they're doing with the entertainers.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna throw this out there because I don't think it's warranted, because I know a lot of people when it comes to certain scenarios and certain people, they'll say, "Oh man, it don't matter because his paycheck was right. He did it for the bag. He did it for the money. Who cares? He's, you know, some people may, oh, he's a sellout. He just did it for the money." You know what I mean? I don't think it's that. I don't think Snoop's in a position to be like, "Oh, I need this money." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think it was like about the money. I think it was an opportunity. It was an idea. He enjoyed the pitch.
And I wonder whose idea it was for that concept. If that's something that he brought to the table.
Yeah, did he pitch it or did they pitch it to him?
Did they pitch it to him?
So,
because I mean, the Kane's color is red.
And so that's why. So my thing is, I don't think it was like, oh, he did it for the bag. I think it could have gone down like Snoop had this idea and was like, "Hey, Kane's whoop, business decision, right?"
Right.
Or flip side, Kane's was like, "Hey, we need to get Snoop because business decision," and Snoop was on board. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So either way, I think it was just a smart business decision, marketing move. You know, and that's a kudos. I'll give Kane's.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. You know, and kudos to Snoop. I don't think it was about the bag. There's plenty of people out there running and chasing and dreaming about, you know, getting money for whatever, even if it's doing a trash movie or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Snoop did it for that.
Nah, Snoop does it for the love of the game at this point. You know?
He's having fun.
He's not hurting right now.
No, he's having fun. The fact that he sits in and, you know, commentates the Olympics and boxing.
Snoop is on a side quest mission right now.
Yeah.
Like, if in the game of life you've got your storyline,
right,
and then you got all the Snoop is killing it on the side mission.
Music was the storyline,
right.
The side quests were movies and everything else, right? But he's on side quest like 3050.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just side questing away at this point. Like you said, like the main path is still there.
Right.
And we don't know where that ends.
And he jumps back into it when he can.
Yeah.
Because even, you know, with the artist that he's doing,
October London.
I want to call him London October so bad. You know, like cameos in his video.
In the videos,
like,
yeah.
Still making music, of course.
For sure.
But then doing his commercials.
Pushing
like
his artists.
Commercials in foreign countries.
Yeah.
Hosting the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Commentating. Like, everything that Snoop is doing. Like, he's the sports that he's involved in.
And it's hilarious. I mean,
Snoop
the Pee Wee League.
Football League.
Yeah, the football, yeah.
Everything that he's into is so dope to see him coming from where he came from to be where he's at right now. Like, that's some inspirational shit.
Indeed.
It really is.
It's a lot of people in the world where chasing the bag is no longer in the question. It's a lot of people in the world who are greedy and don't need to chase the bag, but still do.
Yeah.
You know, like LeBron, right? Like, LeBron's probably one of the wealthiest NBA players ever, and it's not based on his contracts. It's based on everything,
right,
as a whole, as a brand, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to chase. He doesn't need to chase the bag. I think he still does to a certain degree.
Really?
I feel like if he wanted to win a ring this year, you know, you negotiated your 1-year contract, maybe take a little less and pass some of that money to some other players to bring in the talent that you need to help you win the ring, right? If you're about winning,
yeah.
If you're about winning, but if you're sucking up, you know, $56 million in a year, there's only so much money to go around. You know, there is a salary cap. There's luxury taxes, but you know,
but I mean, yeah, he could also just be securing his legacy.
Oh, you can secure your legacy by getting some extra championships and whatnot. You know, if you're about those rings, you're trying to get to 6, right? Maybe even trying to get to 5 to meet Kobe.
But maybe the bag is more important than the ring.
So
again, because he's on his side quest, because he's out here trying to crush other records and stuff like that.
And props, because I think his side quest is his production company and the stuff that he's doing outside basketball. I think his business and his brand is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So it's mad props, and I'm not taking away from his basketball legacy either. I'm not dogging it.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, pointing out that, like, maybe you didn't need a max deal. You know what I mean? You know, but
he could take less money and still be okay.
More than okay.
Yeah.
But you know, but then you got you got a lot of people in the NBA. I mean, NBA contracts are insane. They were showing projections of certain players, Luka, for example, by 2030 could be making in upwards of like, $70 to $80 million a year. There's people who are going to be making $100 million a year soon, in the next 10 years, which is insane.
Playing ball. It's crazy. Could have never imagined that 30 years ago.
I think they said SGA was under his contract is roughly $1 million a game, which is crazy. It's not this. I think it's the last year of his contract, which I believe is 2030,
right?
2029, something like that.
Wild.
But he'll be making about $1 million per game.
So much money in the NBA, man. So much money in the NBA.
So and since we're talking NBA, there's the W. You know what? I think it's time.
Time for a hot take?
It's time for a hot take.
Oh, shit.
It's time for a hot take. Let's bring it on. It's time for another hot take brought to you by the handcrafted brews at Throttle House Coffee and Tea.
Order yours at throttlehouscoffee.com. That's throttle, H-A-U-S, coffee.com.
But yeah, man, shout out to Throttle House Coffee and Teas. So the WNBA recently had their All-Star break. I don't know if you saw, a bunch of the players were wearing T-shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us."
I did see that, and I'm wondering who made those shirts.
So, whoever did got paid, I presume.
I wonder if they got paid what they were owed.
Right?
I'm kidding.
Hot take within the hot take. Who sponsors the hot take within the hot take?
Right.
So this has been a conversation that I've seen going on in many contexts, right? I've seen WNBA players who think they should be equally paid the way the men are paid.
As the NBA players?
Getting, 20, 30 million a season. And I've seen other ones understand sort of the dynamic of how that comes to fruition.
Right.
And know the reality of maybe they could be being paid more, but it's not going to be what the men are playing at this point.
Right.
So my hot take on that situation is pay us what you owe us. First and foremost, what are you owed? Like, what do you think you're owed? And I'm not taking away from the talent. The WNBA definitely has gained popularity in the last year and a half. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, Sabrina. There's a lot of players now who are garnishing attention, getting fans,
eyes.
selling jerseys, the whole nine.
Yeah.
Props, right? I love basketball. You already know this. But in order for your contract to be able to be as much as what a men's contract is, you have to have that revenue coming from somewhere. And right now, from what I understand, the WNBA, although is gaining traction, is still in the red. And that red is made up for by contributions from the profit margins of the NBA. And that's what keeps the WNBA afloat. Now, talks of these expansion teams coming as the NBA, yes, but the WNBA also getting some new teams will help. Their league will grow. They'll have more players, which means more money being earned, more fans, and that's great for the sport, for everything.
Right.
But there's no way you're going to demand a $30 million, $20 million, $10 million contract the same way that the men's league has when you don't have the revenue coming in.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Are they going to get there at some point? Yeah. Yeah, the way the growth is showing right now, I believe they will.
I believe it. I don't know if they'll ever equal what the NBA revenue is, but
I think they're reaching that point. So you remember the NBA wasn't always like that. They were making, tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, then to the millions, they crept in.
Right.
I mean, you got players right now, like Jordan, for example, right? Like Jordan wasn't making, nearly what they make now. Like not even close, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he built a brand, he built an empire, I should say.
Yeah.
But when an NBA player first signed $1 million contract, people was like, oh my God.
That was huge back then.
You know what I mean? Now it's like that's barely just slightly above league minimum. I mean, it's, around veteran minimum, but rookie minimum slightly above.
Right.
I mean, so the WNBA is going to grow, but it's always going to be, revenue-wise, it's always going to be behind the men. I mean, unless for some reason everybody on the planet stops watching men's basketball and they focus on the women's,
right.
I don't see that surpassing the men or even equaling them.
Yeah.
But it will grow. It's going to continuously grow. And do I think they deserve to be paid for their talents? Absolutely. I think they deserve to be paid the most that they can be paid possible.
Right.
But that's not going to be what the men's make. I mean, it's going to, as the profits grow and the players union can negotiate their labor deals and their profit sharing and all this stuff, yes, I believe they'll be paid more and more as we go.
Yeah.
I just don't think that it's going to be what they're thinking. And that's not all of them. It's what some of them are thinking, and that is that it's going to be equal to the men's. And that's my hot take on this.
Yeah, I don't think it can ever equal what the men's revenue is or what their income is, only for the fact that it's apples and oranges, The NBA has been around. And not to say that the WNBA hasn't been around for a while. They have been around for a while, but
It's not as long.
there's the push isn't there. You don't see the same push for the WNBA as you do for the NBA. If there was more push for the WNBA, more games that were aired on national television, on your channels and everything like that.
It's getting there.
It is getting there slowly but surely. It is growing. Or even if they encouraged more of the male NBA players to show up at the games, that could drum up some more
Indeed
engagement and encouragement.
So, with that is our hot take, brought to you by Throttle House Coffee and Teas.
Get you some delicious coffees and teas at throttleHouseCoffees.com. That's house spelled Haus. I don't know if you saw, but Malcom Jamal Warner just recently passed away.
I did, man. And
unfortunately.
Condolences to his family. How tragic on a vacation with his family.
Right.
It's just so tragic.
Right. Yeah, got caught up in a riptide and wasn't able to be saved. It's very sad. Very sad.
It definitely shows the dangers of the ocean. But man, I mean, another good one,
Yeah. And it's crazy because I know most people know him from his role as Theo
Huxtable
on The Cosby Show. But,
Indeed.
he was also in Malcolm and Eddie, which was great.
Great show.
Him and Eddie Griffith.
I got to go see that. I got to be a set guest. So I was actually on set a couple of
during
times.
one of the recordings?
Yeah, they used to film right there at Culver Studios.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I got to be on the set a few times where they shot. Got to briefly meet them both. But good guy, good dude. That show was funny. Malcolm and Eddie was a hilarious show.
Yeah, it really was. And it was dope. It was dope seeing that transition of him as a kid on the Cosby Show to being like an adult in an adult role on Malcolm and Eddie. It's totally dope to see that transition because a lot of people can't make that shift.
100%.
Yeah. So,
many have tried.
And outside of that, in his personal life, he did a lot of philanthropy, used his platform to do a lot of social justice. The man also had a Grammy.
He did have a Grammy
for his spoken word. Let me see. His spoken word that he did on Jesus' Children.
Yeah. With
the Robert Glasper experiment.
Yeah. I remember, I'm not going to sit there and say I was a, follower of that, but I remember hearing about that when it occurred. And I was like, wait, he was involved in what now? And being in music, I had to go look, and so way back when I went and looked and checked it out, and it was a cool little piece, very bassy, very jazzy.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I can't sit there and remember the full message behind it, but I remember it being pretty good. And he got a Grammy.
Yeah. So that was a surprise to find out. Didn't really know him for his musical engagement or anything like that.
Indeed, I don't think a lot of people do.
But it's dope that he had that under his belt. Not too many people can say that they got themselves an Emmy. Or a Grammy.
Or Emmy too, but yeah.
Either way, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But, it has me wondering, like, do you have, like, a most memorable or a couple most memorable moments that you have about him from, like, The Cosby Show or some roles that he's done?
So what immediately hits my brain, like, I mean, and it was the second you started saying memorable moment, it hit my brain, was the episode where he wanted to move out. And so when he gets home, Bill is at the door, and he's like, "Who's that? I'm the landlord." Da, da, da. And then he has and everything's like, that's rent. Oh, that's money. Oh, that, and he's walking him through everything and how much everything costs, and teaching them that lesson very visually,
right? But
at the same time, very comedically, as the show portrayed, anyways. But I that's one of the very first things that come to my head when it comes to Theo's character.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Right off the bat. I mean, that was a good one.
Definitely one of the most memorable ones. I think the first memorable moment that I have is him getting his ear pierced.
Oh yeah. That was funny.
And he's sitting in the room, and then he comes in and he sit on the bed, and then he's doing the lean thing, like
right. Do you remember the sweater?
The sweater.
the you don't remember the sweater that
the Gordon Cottrell?
Yeah, with the sleeve,
the long sleeve. Yeah, the one that Denise tried to make him.
The bootleg.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
Because at the time it was, I want to say it was like a $95 shirt.
Right,
which is common right now.
No, it's like that's a sale price.
Right, pick that up at Ross.
So,
but yeah, the Gordon Cottrell.
Definitely lots
episode.
of memorable moments, man. But yeah,
That was a
and the
classic.
fact that he's in his 50s, which is not old, so it sucks when you hear about those stories. So big condolences, and his family and everything. Definitely didn't see this on my bingo card for 2025.
No, not at all. And I appreciate the man for everything he did for us. Like, for a lack of a better way to say it, like, he damn near raised us growing up.
Yeah, we was little kids.
Like, everybody was watching the Cosby Show back then. So
reruns.
We got to see him grow up. He grew up with us. We got to see him get diagnosed with dyslexia.
Right.
And that was something that people weren't talking about,
at all.
And you see, if you think back earlier on in the show, he used to get a lot of crap for not doing good in school.
Right.
And come to find out this whole time, he had a processing issue. And once he got diagnosed, the whole game changed. He excelled.
Right.
And then he went back, during his college era, he went back to teach the other kids and everything like that. Like, it was just dope. He was a great character that he played, great role model on and off the screen.
For sure.
Sad that he's gone. Condolences to his family. Fortunately, they were able to save his daughter because she was out there on the water with them. Yeah. She was able to be saved. But yeah, gone too soon, man. It's such a sad,
100%,
sad day.
100%. Well, on that note, I think we've reached it. What are your favorite Theo Huxtable moments on the Cosby Show? Why don't you throw those in the comments? And
let's hear them.
While you're there, like, subscribe, and follow all socials. And we'll see you on the next one.
Can you reach that?
Can you reach that? Can you reach that? Brought to you by Double One Entertainment in Coopersville. Hosted by Tango and Coop. And created and edited by Tim Greenlee and Brandon Adolphus. Music, sound design, and editing by Michael B. That's me. Visual art and graphic design by Jonathan Greenlee. Additional visual design by Timothy Greenlee.
Can you reach that?